Hi guys, welcome. Danny here from the Magic Junk Drawer. So today I wanted to talk about this psychic experience that I had many years ago, and the reason why this has come up is because we were talking about psychic experiences, and the more that you have them, the more that you believe in them, the more that they're going to continue to happen. And I think for myself, I kind of shut myself down for many years because I wasn't really believing in it. I wasn't sold. And don't forget, if you want a reading with me, the Instant Go will be in the description box, and also PayPal if you're interested. This is probably one of the most psychic experiences that I ever had. And it's so bizarre. So many years ago, I was still living with my mother. I was looking for an apartment. My brother and I were moving out, and we were going to live together. And we were looking for an apartment close to work. And I had a realtor, and she took us to see, I think we saw 2 places. The first place was absolutely perfect. It was 2 miles up the street from one job, 5 or 6, 7 miles up the street from my other job. It was in my hometown. It was perfect. And that was the one that we wanted. And at the time, I had a dog who was 12 years old. And I wasn't in any rush to get out of, I was living with my mother. So it's not like my lease was up and I had to get out. I had some time. But that dog was coming with me, or I wasn't taking the apartment. There was no way I was going anywhere without my dog. She was 12 years old, and she was coming with me. So the realtor said that the landlord said that it was okay. She just wanted to meet the dog. And then it came back with, no, you're not allowed to have dogs there. So I was pretty bummed. But like I said, I wasn't in such a hurry. Like, I wasn't trying to get out in any specific time. So the realtor said, we'll just keep looking, and left it at that. About a month or so later, this woman calls me back. The night before, I get this phone call from her. The realtor's name was Carol. Night before, I had a dream that this real estate woman, Carol, called me, and I was at work, and she said to me, you can have that townhouse. The landlord called me, and she said there was a misunderstanding. You are allowed to have dogs there, and you can have the townhouse. And I was like, no, rules are rules. I don't want to move in there and have an issue. This dog is 12 years old. She's been with me since she's a puppy. I'm not giving her up. And the landlord was like, there are dogs there. You can have the dog. And that's pretty much all I remember of the dream. Now, at this time, my brother and I were working together. And that afternoon, I got a phone call from the realtor, and that is exactly what she said to me. She said, there was a mistake. You are allowed to have dogs there, and you can have that townhouse. The landlord just wants to meet the dog. So that week, we brought the dog to meet the landlord. The landlord said it was fine, that the dog was fine, and we took the place. And I've been living here ever since. But that's exactly what happened. The night before, this woman called me to tell me that I could have the place. I had that dream. But you know what happens is, after that, I went through a really bad time. Like, my mom got sick. She passed away. My grandfather died. My grandfather died first, I think. I think he died first, and then we got the apartment. And then my mother got, it was a chaotic time. And then you go through all this. My boyfriend at the time, he had death in his family. It was one thing after another. And what happens is you start to lose faith in all this stuff. And then, listen, I was a heavy hitter in my day, so I'm not throwing stones. But you spend a lot of time drinking and getting drunk, and you lower your vibration. And now you're not listening to your intuition. You're in a fog so much from the alcohol and staying out late and being tired and, all the stress of it, that you're not connecting to all of these experiences, so you're missing them. So there was a big stretch of time there where I wasn't as connected. I don't know what's going on with this sun, but you know what? Thank God there's sun, because it was snowing here yesterday, and I'm over the snow. So Now, the more you have these experiences, the more you're going to believe in them. And the more that you believe in them, the more you're going to have them, the more you're going to trust your intuition. So here we go again, with that whole what came first, the chicken or the egg. Doesn't really matter. As long as you're on the same frequency, you're going to end up where you have to be. So it's very interesting when these things start to happen. It's very interesting to watch them play out. Another situation that had come up recently, this is kind of personal, so I'm not going to say too much, but there was a situation with somebody who has kind of a very not a real common name, and I came across several people with that name in the last like 24 hours, and then today I heard some news about that person. So that's kind of odd too. It's like I kept hearing that name, so that person was in my head, and then all of a sudden I heard this news. So, you know, pay attention to these little things, because sometimes they are telling you things. You know, like something could be going on, like, you know, you're sending out signals and you're receiving signals at the same time. So what you're putting out, somebody else is receiving. And if you don't like what you're getting back, then you have to change what you're putting out. So if you're putting out like, I'm depressed, I'm sad, I'm this, that's what's going to come back to you. If you change the situation, I remember talking to a woman that I work with who was talking about how years ago she had a boss who was really mean. And she was in a shitty place in her life, and she said to me, I made a decision one day that I had the best boss ever. And that's what I kept telling myself. I have the best boss ever. I have the best boss ever. This man is so good to me. And she said that he wound up being very good to her, and that to this day they're still friends. So it's sometimes, if you can convince yourself of that, you can send it out and then it will come back. So all of these things, like for a large portion of my life, I mean, we called it witchcraft because we lit a candle and you put the herbs, and I believe in all that stuff and I do all that stuff still, but it still comes back to the same thing. You're putting out what you want to get back, right? You're putting out this intention so that you get it back. Call it whatever you want. Light a candle, don't light a candle. It's all about the intention that you set out. So it's very interesting how these things are all starting to come together. So just take notice of it. Take notice of these things when they start to happen in your life, because it's not just a coincidence. You know, there are no coincidences. I need sunglasses in this place. All right, if you like what we're doing here at the Magic Junk Drawer, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Bye.